On Ethiopia's western frontier, where the Blue Nile cuts towards Sudan, rises one of Africa's most audacious feats of engineering, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a hydroelectric power generation giant carved into the river's path.
In just one moment, Africa entered a new age. A river that has carried life for thousands of years is now the heart of one of the biggest projects ever built on the continent. After more than a decade of work, Ethiopia has turned flowing water into a massive source of power. The world is watching closely, and the story has only begun. Shocking power, great ambition, and a turning point for Africa. On September 9, 2025, Ethiopia did something that caught the attention of the entire world. After 14 years of hard work, Ethiopia opened the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. This is now the biggest hydroelectric dam in all of Africa. It is a project that many people thought would never be finished. Yet today it stands tall on the Blue Nile, near the border with Sudan. Its story is not only about power and progress, but also about hope, fear, and the future of water in the region. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, often called the GERD, is a huge structure. It is built on the Blue Nile River in a place called the Benishangul Gumuz region. When construction began in 2011, many wondered how long it would take and how Ethiopia would pay for it. The cost ended up being about $5 billion. That is a massive amount for a country where many people still live without electricity. But Ethiopia decided to move forward. The government said this dam was a dream for the nation, a project that would change lives for generations. The GERD has the ability to produce more than 5,100 megawatts of electricity. To understand that, think about how electricity powers lights, schools, factories, and hospitals. For Ethiopia, a country of more than 120 million people, this electricity means less time in the dark and more time working, learning, and building a better future. Before this dam, power cuts were very common. Businesses and families struggled without steady power. The GERD is expected to change that, giving a stronger and more reliable flow of energy across the country. One of the most striking parts of the dam is the giant reservoir behind it. The lake created by the dam is called Nigat Lake, which means the Lake of Dawn. It is one of the largest man-made lakes in Africa, holding about 74 billion cubic meters of water. That is more water than many countries use in a whole year. The lake covers almost 1,900 square kilometers, making it larger than some entire nations. It is so deep that it can hold water for years, helping the dam produce power even when rains are low. The building of the dam was also unusual. Ethiopia used very little money from outside countries. Instead, it relied mainly on itself. The Central Bank of Ethiopia paid about 91% of the cost. Ordinary Ethiopians also gave money through bonds and gifts. For many, buying a bond was more than just giving money. It was a sign of patriotism. They felt proud to be part of something this big. This makes the GERD not just a project of engineers, but also a project of the people. The promise of the GERD is huge. It could make Ethiopia the top exporter of power in East Africa. The country hopes to sell electricity to neighbors like Sudan, Kenya, and even farther away. With the money earned, Ethiopia could fund schools, healthcare, and more jobs. Many see the dam as a key to lifting millions of people out of poverty. The government believes it will bring pride, strength, and respect to the nation. But as the dam was being built, tensions grew. Egypt and Sudan, two countries downstream, became deeply worried. Both nations depend heavily on the Nile River. Egypt, in particular, gets almost 90 to 95% of its fresh water from the Nile. For thousands of years, the Nile has been Egypt's lifeline. It waters farms, fills homes, and supports nearly every part of life. The idea that a huge dam upstream could change that was frightening. Egypt and Sudan argued that there should be a strong and binding deal about how the dam would be run. They wanted rules about how much water Ethiopia could hold back each year, especially during dry seasons. Without such rules, they feared their people could face water shortages. Talks were held many times over the years. At one point, the African Union tried to mediate. The United States also joined talks in 2019 and 2020, but no final agreement was reached. Ethiopia insisted that the GERD would not harm its neighbors. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said the dam was not built to stop water, but to produce power. He pointed out that the Nile flows with great force every year and that Ethiopia has a right to use its waters for development. He also said that the dam could even help by reducing floods in Sudan and by making the flow of water more steady. But Egypt was not convinced. For Cairo, the dam was seen as a threat to its very survival. When the filling of the reservoir began in 2020, tensions rose further. Some feared there might even be war over the Nile. Egypt warned that it would never allow its water supply to be cut. Sudan also raised alarms. But as the years passed, the dam filled step by step, and because of good rains, the flow of water downstream did not drop as much as feared. For the Ethiopian people, the opening of the GERD is a moment of pride. Many say it proves that their nation can do big things, even without huge outside help. They see the dam as a symbol of strength and independence. On the day of the launch, songs, dances, and celebrations were held. People spoke of a new dawn for the nation. To them, the Lake of Dawn is more than a reservoir. It is a sign of a brighter tomorrow. Yet, challenges remain. Ethiopia still needs to build many transmission lines to carry the electricity across the country. Millions of people in rural areas still lack access to power. The government will also need to manage the dam carefully so that it helps Ethiopia without harming neighbors. Trust is still fragile. Egypt and Sudan continue to call for talks, and the world will be watching closely to see how cooperation develops. The GERD also raises wider questions. Can countries that share rivers find ways to share fairly? Can one nation grow without taking away from another? Climate change makes these questions even more serious. Rainfall in the Nile Basin is not always steady. Some years it is plenty, other years it is little. A dam can help during droughts, but it can also cause problems if not managed well. That is why clear agreements are important. Still, many experts believe the GERD could bring more good than harm. If Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan can work together, the dam might become a source of regional unity rather than conflict. Shared electricity could connect economies. Shared water planning could protect all three nations during tough times. What today looks like a point of tension could tomorrow become a model for cooperation. The story of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is not only about concrete and water, it is about ambition, pride, and survival. It shows how nations try to rise and how they fear being left behind. Ethiopia sees a future with power, light, and growth. Egypt fears a future with less water. Sudan sits in the middle, worried but also hopeful. The Blue Nile ties them together. What happens next will shape the lives of millions. For now, Ethiopia has achieved a great milestone. The largest hydroelectric dam in Africa is alive, turning water into light and energy. Its turbines will spin for decades to come. Its reservoir will hold the Lake of Dawn. Its impact will reach beyond Ethiopia's borders, across the region, and into history. If you want to follow how this dam changes water sharing, electricity, and politics in East Africa, stay with us. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories like this. Your voice matters, and together we will keep watching this story unfold.